Sounds good.
I'd like to thank you guys for allowing us to come and be with you all tonight. And you guys will see ARC oftentimes on our slides. It's Addiction Recovery Care. We also refer to ourselves as ARC. But I am the Vice President of Marketing for Addiction Recovery Care.
Is there a clicker?
I don't have. Oh, I was waiting on him to click. I'm sorry, guys. So this is our founder and CEO, Tim Robinson. Tim was a is a former prosecuting attorney, and he was also a functioning alcoholic. On December 11th, 2006, that is his sobriety date. That's the day that he gave up all alcohol and has been sober ever since. After being in the prosecutor's office and seeing all of the people in the community who were struggling with alcoholism and addiction, he realized that in 2008 he was being called to do something more. So at that point, he actually gave up his title as the prosecutor in Lawrence County, Kentucky, and gave his law practice over to his partner. And he began a journey to start a grassroots ministry in Eastern Kentucky to help those who are struggling with substance use disorder. In December of 2010, he opened Karen's Place, which is a treatment facility in Louisa for women. And he has, since then, you're going to see next where ARC has gone since then. So here's a little timeline of how things have progressed for us. So in 2006, I went over those details already. So in 2008, that is when he started the organization. In 2010, we opened Karen's Place in Louisa, Kentucky. And then in 2015, that was when Kentucky developed the residential, the Medicaid reimbursement for residential level of care, which that really changed the scope of things for the people in Kentucky. You know, we're from a very rural area. I know you guys can definitely relate to that. And that allowed access to treatment for so many more people in the state of Kentucky. ARC was prepared and ready for that day, and we were actually the first organization to admit a client at a residential level of care. In 2016, we went on to create a vocational track to go along with our recovery model, and that's now called our peer support program. So that has allowed people who are in addiction to be able to go on and give back to other people and actually become certified in the state of Kentucky in order to be able to help other people who are currently struggling with the same things that they once were. And then currently we have over 30 different programs across 21 different counties. And in 2020, we actually opened the largest center in the nation. It's in Springfield, Kentucky. It's Crown Recovery Center, and it can hold up to 750 clients. And this is going to share a little bit about my story. So do I hit play on this? Just the same button? Okay, thank you.
Welcome back. The resurgence of heroin has grown to just epidemic levels in Kentucky.
And we're joined today by Vanessa Keeton with Addiction Recovery Care.
Vanessa hid a dark side from her family.
You see, as a child and a young teen, there is no one in my life who would have ever imagined I would become a drug addict.
Vanessa began shooting up pills, lost her job, stole to support her habit, and did some time in jail.
Vanessa Keeton was the first client to ever walk through the doors at Addiction Recovery Care.
Vanessa Keeton, Vice President of Marketing for Martin County, and spoke about her drug addiction the first time she took drugs.
New data from the CDC shows more than 2,300 Kentuckians died due to drug overdoses in 2021.
And Vanessa, we do appreciate you speaking with us on the occasion of these troubling numbers.
And Vanessa, you have your own story to tell.
God uses my story every day as hope for people who walk through the doors in any of the facilities around ARC. You owe me money.
This isn't
You owe me
mine.
money. That's my property.
This isn't mine.
I feel like there's a lot more to know about me than just being ARC's first client. But that's awesome. Can you start moving me? I ended up just by chance being the one who decided to truly recover out loud. I decided early on that, you know, I was going to make it a mission, part of the mission in my life, that if I could do it, I wanted everyone else to know that they could do it too. And so, yeah, people, that's what I've been known for years and years. I started using drugs and alcohol, honestly, to fit in, and this whole thing of, I was completely obsessed with the thought of wanting to be cool, and I thought that those people, I mean, you know, they were cool in my eyes at that time, which is so weird, but that's kind of what started me into dabbling in and trying drugs and alcohol, and I, you know, had no idea that I was going to be one of those people who couldn't stop, and then it ended up robbing 13 years of my life.
We would see her at Easter and Christmas, and that was about it. I never thought she would hurt anybody. That was never part of it. But the fear of waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and something told you to wake up and pray. Because you hadn't heard from her in 2 days.
In the beginning of my addiction, you know, my mom, she did not want to admit to herself or anyone else that I could possibly have had a problem. But then as the dynamic started to change and my addiction started to get worse, I mean, she saw me begin to dwindle away. And she saw the girl that was once vibrant and young and full of life, just that fire inside of me started going away. She got to the point finally at the very, very end where I wasn't allowed to come to her house anymore. And I cannot imagine as a mother telling my child that they can't come to my house anymore. But that was the best thing that she could have ever done.
I was the mother who said, you don't quit because you don't want to quit. And I understand now that was the wrong one.
They knew Vanessa. I'm a natural strategizer, so I could figure out like 4 different escape routes to anywhere I was going. Like, you know, they knew what I was doing then. They had kept up with me enough to know that there were times where I was bringing drugs back to Martin County when I was living out of town. And yeah, it's definitely had a target on my back.
My name is Marvin David Priest. I was with Martin County Sheriff for 12 years. All the deputies knew Vanessa. They knew that she was hung around with people that took drugs and sold drugs. And if I could find a reason to get her off the street, I did that.
When I was in the courtroom for the charges that I had received in fall of 2010, Keenan Maynard was the county attorney at the time, and he had watched me grow up my whole entire life. His son went to school with my sister, and he looked at me that day in front of the judge and said, I will not have your death on my conscience. You are going to do a year in jail, or you are going to go to treatment. And, you know, my mom stepped in, and if it wasn't for her, I would have still never made it through the doors of Karen's place.
She was gone from my house 6 days before she called back and said, they go to bed for me. And I will go to treatment if you will help me. And I said, I'll help you if you need it. But if you don't, I'm out.
I would have never imagined that I would be where I'm at in life. My whole idea of people like me, what happened to them was they were going to be found dead with a needle in their arm one day. Like, that was really the only hope that I had for my life at all. I mean, I tell people all the time I couldn't have dreamed of the life that I have today when I was
see her and see what God can do in people's lives.
God allowed her to live through all that mess to bring her to where she is now, so she can help other people.
Whom I'm most thankful for. When it comes to my recovery journey, I'm the most thankful for my mom. If it wasn't for my mom, there's no way that I would have made it through the doors there. You know, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm so sorry you don't have a Conchita. I'm so sorry that you don't, you know, and I tell other people, I'm like, be a Conchita for someone. You know, be that person that goes the extra mile to see that they actually make it there. You know, help them navigate the hard things when it comes to hopping through all the hoops that it takes to hop through, to make the phone calls and make the connections and all these things. Like, help someone do that, because if it wasn't for her, I would have never made it. So that's, thank you. Oh, thank you guys. So you guys can see why ARC is so near and dear to my heart. You know, it's it definitely worked for me, and things have changed over the years, but the crisis to career model was still in place all those years ago. So it's one of those things that, you know, we're excited to be able to bring that across state lines and be able to serve Virginia in the same capacity, and can't wait to see who the Vanessa's going to be in Virginia. But I'm going to pass this over to John Wilson, and he's going to share a little bit more about our organization.
Thank you, Vanessa. My name's John Wilson. I'm market president for ARC, and I'll tell you, I will never follow that video again.
Good video.
Mr. Chairman, for 16 years I served as Garrett County Judge Executive, so I presided over our fiscal court, which is the analogous position to your Board of Supervisors. In my county, similar in size to yours. We even have a lake in our county, just like you all do. And we have a Mexican restaurant and pizza place, just like you all do. But we also have a problem with drug addiction, just like you all do. And I recognized early on in my career the effect that drugs were having on my community and what that was doing to our general fund and doing to our jail budget. And so that's how I got involved. And I will tell you, I've traveled all around the state of Kentucky opening new centers, and I don't think I've ever found a more welcoming community than here in Dickinson County. And I want to really congratulate you all before I start my presentation. From last night, checking into the hotel, to the lady at the grocery store, to the people at Pizza Hut, and your employees. Here are some of the finest that I've come across in any of my years in county government and in my position as ARC. You really are to be commended for the leadership that you all have taken on the Board of Supervisors. Quite frankly, it's extremely impressive, and I am just in awe of the professionalism that I've seen out of your county employees today. So you all are to be commended for that.
Thank you.
And I'm not even asking for anything, so that's heartfelt. So I want to talk a little bit about ARC. All our ARC facilities are duly recognized. We're accredited by CARF. It's the Commission on Accreditation for Rehabilitation Facilities for Drug and Alcohol Treatment Centers, and also ASAMS, and we talked about that a lot today. That's the American Society of Addiction Medicine. And why these are important is, in the recovery world today, there's a lot of people who are not providing the same type of service that we provide at our center, and I like to say that there's some bad actors. Some of them are probably properly motivated. They might have had someone in their family close to them affected by drugs or alcohol, and maybe had a death, and they want to help. Maybe they're religiously motivated, and that's on the good side. And then on the bad side, you have people who are really in it for profiteering off people at their weakest moment, and so they're not really providing the same level of services. And I want to make it clear that ARC is a healthcare facility. We are duly accredited. And anyone that you're dealing with when you're trying to send a loved one to treatment, look for these certifications, because that tells that they are providing legitimate services. They come down to our centers and they do audits and evaluations, and it's a strenuous process to get these. But this is how you can be sure that there is appropriate treatment, evidence-based outcome treatment that's taking place, and that's what we are going to bring to Dickinson County. So the 6 CARF accredited areas are residential. That's I'm going to give a little bit of a history, or a little bit of education for everybody who might not be familiar. Residential that's kind of the first phase of treatment. It's our highest level of care that we plan to offer initially here in Dickinson County. That's someone who's right off the street. They're maybe just used drugs, within even hours or even right before they walk into our facility. That's our RTC level of care. Then as they step down, it's what we call PHP. It's the partial hospitalization program. It's a lower level of care based on the acuity of their addiction. Next is the IOP, intensive outpatient, and then outpatient. And then we also do the detoxification withdrawal management and our targeted case management. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the next slide here, future slide. So this kind of shows our footprint across Kentucky. We were started in eastern Kentucky, kind of up near the top there, and we've spread through eastern Kentucky. We've headed west. You can see our footprint there. And then this year we plan to open, of course, you see Dickinson County highlighted in the upper right-hand side there, along with we plan to open a center in Ohio with an outpatient center in Columbus. We just closed on a property in Louisville, Kentucky, then one in Owensboro. And then, of course, there's a hospital that we've acquired right outside of Ashland, Kentucky. So this is our footprint where we're currently providing services today. So our model, we believe that, and the science shows that the best way to have success in long-term recovery is contingent on two things. Number one, it's the length of time in treatment, and number two, it's the vocational opportunities after treatment. And so we kind of merge those two together, and we have an extremely long-term inpatient program here. So you start out in phase one, that's that RTC level of care. It's generally about 30 days, so that's somebody right off the street. They're going to come in, they're in active addiction. We call it our detox phase. It's a little different than the highest level of detox, but someone can come in active addiction. We have a heavy medical and clinical component here. We're trying to get the client stabilized. We want to address any medical issues that they may have, and we want to address the underlying behavioral issues that oftentimes leads to addiction. So a lot of these folks who are in addiction, there's a lot of times there's underlying trauma, there's abuse, there's impulsivity issues. We want to have the clinicians work with them to address those underlying issues to help them have success in their recovery. Our second phase, I call this the recovery skills phase. We give these men and women the tools necessary to stay sober when they leave treatment. It's generally about 45 to 60 days. Here in the phase two, we introduced the peer support component, and then we also introduced targeted case management. The case managers are to help our clients have a successful life afterwards, and that includes everything from dealing with family court issues. There might be outstanding criminal court issues, family counseling. A lot of these guys and girls coming in, they don't have any ID cards, they don't have Social Security cards, they don't have housing. So we're trying to work with them on a life plan for when they leave treatment and what that looks like so that they can have success. Phase three, I call the life skills phase, and that completes out 6 months. And what this is that a lot of times folks enter into addiction maybe as a teenager in their younger years, and really the brain just kind of stops development at that point. And what happens is that we find that they just miss out on those kind of soft skills, those life skills a lot of us take for granted. And so it's very hard to assimilate back into being a tax-paying citizen when you just lack those kind of what we consider common sense. So this third phase, and we start talking about what the career possibilities are for the folks there. So that completes the first phase of our 6 months in treatment. And then the second phase is our vocational component. And the vocational component is on-the-job training, essentially. And what that does, we have a myriad of opportunities for clients, so they can do everything. And Vanessa talked a little bit about that earlier, but we have everything from a accredited college where they can take peer support classes. We have an ASE certified mechanic program where they can come in, and then when they leave, they're certified as an ASE mechanic. We have a welding partnership with the trade union there in Eastern Kentucky where they do 6 months with us and they get a year towards their journeyman certification. We have a culinary arts program. We have a general maintenance. So whatever those clients want to do, they will have a job when they leave, and they will be prepared for that. And they actually apply for that. And I'm going to talk about another one of our partnerships here a little bit later. But we call ours Crisis to Career. And truly, like Vanessa said, folks come in crisis, total chaos, and they leave with a career, which is important. And we'll talk about your question here in a little bit here too. So in 2020, we opened Crown Recovery Center at the St. Catherine's College campus in Washington County, Kentucky, in central, just kind of outside of central Kentucky, about an hour from Lexington. This is what we believe it to be the nation's largest drug and alcohol treatment center. And we acquired the St. Catherine's College campus, 52 acres. We have a 750-bed facility there. As we've kind of grown this, we have 550 men receiving treatment today, and then we have another about 150 interns and staff who are living there and providing, with the workforce opportunities. So it's a functioning college, essentially. The men are living in the dorms, and all levels of care are met here, and then they walk to classes in their groups and receive their medical treatment and graduate out. So we're very proud of what's taking place at Crown. So this is kind of one of our partnerships that we have, and I wanted to talk about this. This is interesting. We've been working with private employers to meet their needs, and what we found is in Washington County, which is a rural county, it's actually smaller than Dickinson County. There's just 11,000 people that live there, but their largest employer is TOYOTOMI. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of Toyota. They have capacity for 500 jobs at this plant, and they're down 65, and they can't find workers. So they're actually flying in welders from Japan and housing them on short-term visas. And they recognize that we have graduating, so many people out of Crown every month, essentially, who can pass a drug test and who are eager to get back into the workforce. And so we've got a program with TOYOTOMI where guys, this is part of their phase 4 of their internship. So we're still providing the drug testing services. We're still providing peer support. We're providing the recovery services. We're providing level supervision. We're doing the transportation, but we're bringing them into the factory every day. And these guys are working. They keep their own paycheck. We're doing financial literacy with them. We're doing, all the services that you can provide, and we're meeting the need. So truly, it's an economic development engine, and we'll talk a little bit about that to answer your question, ma'am. But this is I'm going to show you a short video here that we've produced with TOYOTOMI.
At Addiction Recovery Care, we believe from the moment we receive a call asking for help to the client's first steps through our doors to begin their treatment, the opportunities are endless. And the truth is, not all treatment is created equal. Here at Addiction Recovery Care, we believe in not only helping the client recover from their substance use disorder, but also recovering their life with practical skills that will give them an advantage when they go back into the world. Simply put, we believe every client should have the opportunity to go from crisis to career. It's what makes us different. As we've grown in order to help more individuals, so have our workforce partnerships. Addiction Recovery Care is proud to partner with TOYOTOMI America, located in Springfield, Kentucky. There, right now, you can find former and current addiction recovery care clients who have been given opportunities to build back their lives.
Some of the guys are starting out low-level production level team members. But you can already see that they have the drive and the willingness to work on.
We are truly seeing that people are rebuilding their lives, and they're starting with that opportunity of work, and that is making a little money, making them, return back to society, and breaking out of that generational poverty that most of them have wound up experiencing through their addiction crisis.
Second chance employers like TOYOTOMI are making a difference in Kentucky and setting an example for other businesses that want to be part of the solution. As we at ARC continue helping others find their potential, potential is also being found on the manufacturing line.
I never heard of crisis to career, never been to treatment before, but the crisis to career part was it stuck out to me, and it definitely presented opportunities that I cannot imagine the treatment center would offer.
Everybody deserves a second chance. Some people get third, fourth chances, but it means a lot to me to, not fail this time.
I've been counted out. I've been in addiction probably 12, 13 years. And it was just a repeating cycle of catastrophe in my life. And I think some of my family had lost hope, and they're starting to regain some of it back.
ARC's Crisis to Career approach to long-term recovery has been a collaborative effort. Thanks to the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce Foundation and their Fair Chance Academy, TOYOTOMI and other companies are receiving training, knowledge, and resources to help them welcome people in recovery back into the workforce.
CEOs and HR managers are given a glimpse of some of the struggles of returning citizens into their community and the workforce. By the end of the Fair Chance Academy, employers will better understand substance use disorder and best practices to help solve issues within their organization that may cause a disconnect between managers and their employees.
We're not practicing what we preach if we're not doing our corporate social responsibility, meaning having a positive environment or setting a positive way to our people. We have several team members that have been wonderful. I mean, you couldn't imagine how good of workers these gentlemen are.
Partnerships like these are what makes us different at Addiction Recovery Care, and they are why we have a track record of success in treating substance use, helping people re-enter the workforce, and building back Kentuckians' lives so they can discover their true destiny. For more information about our Crisis to Career model, visit www.arccenters.com.
So one of our other centers I want to talk about was Karen's Place. This is actually my favorite place that we've got. It's up in right in Ashland, Kentucky, and Freddie talked a little bit about the effect that drugs have on a baby when it's in utero. So we opened Karen's Place Maternity Center, and we've had over 250 babies who have been born there in the last 4 years. And what's great about this place is 76% of the babies who are born. So, but what happens is a mother comes in active addiction. She's pregnant, and she will come in there, begin receiving services. She'll begin receiving treatment. We're actually share a parking lot with King's Daughters Hospital. We'll take her to her OBGYN appointments. When she gets ready to deliver, we'll take her across the street. She'll deliver. 76% of those babies come back within 5 days, which is great because the average is over 20 days in the NICU unit to someone who's in active addiction. And what really gets me about this place is I know the effects of a brain soaked in opioids on that baby, and I know that we're making a real difference, generational difference in Eastern Kentucky with the moms who are coming into our center, including the director of the center who came from jail several years ago and came through treatment. She got better. She started as third shift res staff. Which is pretty much the job nobody wants. It's the entry level job, and she's worked her way up to be the director. She's probably got 25 or 30 employees there, and she's a member of the Chamber of Commerce now in Kiwanis, and that's what we're trying to do at ARC. This next slide kind of shows some data there. It's a 4.8 days is our average right now. So we're proud of this slide. We feel like we're making a difference in Kentucky, and this is the exact same thing that we are wanting to bring to your area, Virginia. So since we opened our doors in 2010, the very first client with Vanessa Keeton walked through the doors, we've had almost 55,000 people have been served in that time. And just last year, we had 7,600 people walk through our residential doors at one of our centers and receive some level of care, and about 2,500 received outpatient care in 2022. So we know we're making a difference in Kentucky, and we're looking forward to doing the same thing here in Virginia. I'm going to turn it over to John Gain. We will do our questions at the end, okay? But I do have an answer for you. Thank you.
Good evening, and we appreciate again the opportunity to be here. I just want to echo what John said earlier. Your staff have just been terrific. I'm blown away by Larry and Dana and Freddie, and we just are really grateful for the warm welcome that you've given us. So thank you very much. Dana mentioned that I spent a lot of years as a defense attorney. I actually turned the corner and need to update my biography. I'm now a prosecutor in Kentucky. So I'm an assistant Commonwealth attorney, which is a part-time job for me. There are full-time assistant Commonwealth attorneys, but I'm a part-time prosecutor. And so I come at the drug problem from, though, a career of either representing people charged with felony drug crimes or prosecuting them now. I'm enjoying the prosecution side more because you have more leverage and more control over your docket than you do as a defense attorney. But I will tell you that the one thing that people need to recover from addiction is a job, is an opportunity to change those, as they say in the addiction world, playgrounds, playmates, and playthings. they can't build a new life without a career. So that's where we specialize. We're nationally recognized with our model, Crisis to Career. The BEAS program, Building Evidence on Employment Strategies, which is a federal subsidiary, has recognized what ARC has done in the past and is studying our work. We're very proud of that. There's a picture from this past year, Congressman Hal Rogers, who's one of the members of the House Appropriation Committee and one of the subcommittee chairmen, one of the Appropriation Subcommittee chairmen, very well respected congressman. I think he's now the dean of the congressional delegation. Has been in Congress since 1980. He has recognized the scale of the drug problem in Kentucky and has created a series of programs, part of the reason why ARC came into existence, quite frankly. And he recognized our founder and CEO, Tim Robinson, at the National Prescription Drug Summit in Atlanta. So we're very proud of the national portfolio that we have. To bring this down to you, we have over 900 jobs. It's 900 full-time employees that are currently in existence at ARC. We have a couple hundred more probably interns and people who are part-time employees. So we're very proud of our job growth. Anytime we go into a new community and open a new center, we hire more people, and we ultimately both increase the community's capacity, economic development, and we also create opportunities for those in addiction, for those in recovery. 50% of our graduates are in recovery. I'm sorry, 50% of our employees are in recovery. So we've got over half of our employees at Addiction Recovery Care have been there, done that. They've got the battle scars to show, just like Vanessa. And we're very, very proud of that. 33% of our employees are graduates of Addiction Recovery Care. And when I say graduates, they're not simply working the entry line level positions. They're vice presidents. The number 2 person in the company is a recovered physical therapist who went to treatment at Belgrove Springs in Fleming County when he was on the verge of completely crashing his life, rebuilt his life, and is now I think he's senior vice president. I should know the title better. But
Administrative officer.
Yeah, it's chief administrative officer. That's right. We're very proud of the roles that these folks attain. They're not simply doing entry-level work. So moving on, we have the Millard College. We've started the college. We've recognized that we need to be proactive, and we can't just depend on the traditional channels for many of our people that are in recovery, many of our people that are going through the programs. We started work-ready certificates in general studies, carpentry, welding, and peer support specialists. And peer support specialists is sort of the entry line level for the entry level positions for many of our employees. They work their way up from peer support to center director and so on and so on. So we're very proud of that. We also have job training for auto mechanics, maintenance, chaplaincy, culinary arts, and more. We have multiple enterprises. We found that we can't simply put folks to work only in healthcare. Healthcare is our bread and butter, but we've also found opportunities for others. So we started Masterpiece Kitchen, Three Sisters Catering, Masterpiece Cafe, Paint and Cal Art Gallery, the Garden Theater, Mountain Movers Theater Company, Pioneer Rural Health, Millard School, which is a small Christian school in Louisa, Kentucky, and we have therapists and people on staff to help students with special needs, so we're very proud of that. John Wilson started the fitness center at Crown, Second Chance Lawn and Care, and Second Chance Auto. So those are our enterprises, and we are very proud of the work that they do. Quick overview of some of our stats. Over 5,000 clients transported to treatment. Last year, over 6,000 admits. So of those 6,200 admits, 5,200 we transported. So that gives you a sense of where these folks are coming from when they have to have transportation to get to treatment. So we're very proud of that. We've driven almost 100,000, almost a million miles last year. Over 1,100 oil changes. so on, so on, so on. You know, you start looking at our eggs consumed, you start looking at the gallons of milk consumed. We are going to make a difference in your local economy. I'm sure that your economy, like our economy in Eastern Kentucky, has suffered, and we will make a difference in terms of the economic activity. For more information, you can follow this barcode. You can go to our website, arccenters.com/Virginia.